Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? Hope you are safe and sound. I am also fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Now I am going to take a class on chapter 12 for class 8, topic Natural Resources of Bangladesh. Dear student, let's start today's class. Basically, chapter 12 includes natural resources of Bangladesh, biodiversity, some industrial sectors and their impact in our socio-economic life. So first of all, I am going to discuss on natural resources of Bangladesh. Lesson 1. All objects got from nature are called natural resources. That is, the resource on land, inside the land, within the boundary of the country are actually natural resources. For example, soil, rivers, mineral, forest, birds, animals, insect, fisheries, marine resources, etc. Lesson 1. Diverse natural resources of Bangladesh. There are diverse available resources in nature such as water, air, soil, animals, crops, minerals, etc. Men transform and utilize these natural resources according to their own demand. Basically, chapter 12 lesson 1 includes 7 natural resources of Bangladesh. They are soil resource, rivers resource, mine resource, that is mineral resource, forest resource, fish resource, animal resource, and sea resource. In your dear students, in your textbook are very limited information of these resources are given. You will just go through the textbook and it would be very easy for you to memorize the information regarding the 7 natural resources of Bangladesh. Lesson 2 is very important. Lesson 2 includes role of natural resources in socio-economic development. That is, role of natural resource in our social life and in our economic life. In our social life and in economic development, social and economic development, how the natural resources are used. Lesson 2 includes them. First of all, man does varieties of jobs for living. These are man's economic activities. Social system builds up on the basis of these economic activities. In ancient time, men used to procure fruits from forest and ate meat after hunting animals. Later, they learned to grow out crops and build agrarian social system. Man's socio-economic system has been built up centering on the production, distribution, consumption of food and other commodities. That is, when gradually men learn to produce crops, then they distribute the crops among them, and finally they consume the food grains. All these natural resources man used since ancient time to Middle Age were very natural. Man has transformed natural resources for their own use. In modern age, man has learned to dig out minerals such as coal, iron, stone, gold, silver, gas, etc. They are utilizing natural resources with greater skill and inventing many modern devices. In this way, man has been improving fast their socio-economic condition based on the use of natural resources. There are some use of natural resources. They are just given below. Point 1, production and creating employment. Ours is an agrarian country. The soil is also very fertile in Bangladesh. Agricultural production will be much more higher by proper utilization of fertile soil. Industrialization too should be in a planned way. If we use advanced technology in agriculture, production will rise and new employment will be created in village. As a result, rural people will not rush to towns for employment. Dear students, our soil is very fertile. If we use the soil for cultivating lands for growing different kinds of food grains, we will get sufficient food grains after the season. And if we and there will be more employment if we use this soil in our production activities. Point 2. Meeting demands on balanced diet. The utilization of three kinds of animal resources, namely cattle, fowl, and fish, have increased in our country. We collect and consume them for our needs. As a result, demand of balanced diet is being met. At this, we remain healthy. Side by side, lakhs of farms are growing by providing employment for many. That is, these animal resource fill up our balanced diet. Moreover, many solvent person established different kinds of farms on cattle, fowl, and fish. A lot of people are working in these farms, and they are getting handsome salary by being employed in these institutions. Point 3. Providing irrigation facilities. We know that agriculture cannot be possible without water. We can irrigate our agricultural land by water of our river, canal, lowland, our ponds, etc. As a result, agricultural production can be raised in the dry season. Then we can get sufficient food grains. Dear students, you know that Bangladesh, there are available rivers, lowlands, canals, marshes, water bodies in Bangladesh. If we irrigate this water into our agricultural land, we can get sufficient food grains after the season. Now, another use of natural resources, that is in industrial development and trade expansion. We usually use our mineral resources in industries. The gas, coal, limestone, china clay, and silica are our mineral resources. These are also utilized or used properly. These natural resources are being used in industries so that industry is expanding. Varieties of commodities are being produced in industries which meet our demands. And our trade is also expanding nationally and internationally. Dear students, we are using our valuable mineral resources in the development of industry, and they are also playing role in the expansion of trade. Now, another use of natural resources such as forest. Our forests are full of trees, birds, and animals. We use our forest resource in building houses and making furniture. Sometimes these resources can fill up our food demand too. Again, forest resources are very necessary in reducing temperature. We have to further increase our forest resource in a planned way. Forest supply us woods, timber, and different kinds of animals are fools in the forest. They sometimes fill up our food demands, and trees of the forest supply us oxygen. In this way, the temperature remains balanced in the environment. In fine, we can say that our natural resources are very limited. We should utilize these resources properly through careful planning. By proper utilization of country's natural resources, the agricultural industry will develop and employment opportunities will be generated. Thus, natural resources of Bangladesh develop our socio-economic condition. Dear students, these are the uses of our 7 natural resources in different sectors of our life, and they can play a very important role in the economic and social development of Bangladesh. Now, lesson 3, biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The way in which diverse living beings keep alive in nature is plainly called biodiversity. That is, biodiversity is a system in which all the living beings live together peacefully. The animals world along with insects, birds, etc. live in the nature without any problem. Different flora and fauna live or die due to various changes in climate and temperature. Due to changes in temperature and climate, many of the living beings are now extinct, which were living in our world millions years ago. We can cite example about rhinoceros, dinosaur, etc. The existence, reproduction, and evolution of all living beings are going on in nature in a balanced way. This balanced way is called biodiversity. Living beings are symbiotically dependent. That is one. That is sometimes the animal, insects, birds. Sometimes by insect, we man use different animal resources for our developing food demands, etc. In this way, all the living beings use each other, all the living beings consume each other. In this way, the biodiversity is going on. Now, condition of biodiversity in Bangladesh. How is the biodiversity in Bangladesh? Are they uh, are they being used? Are they being used for positive purpose or negative purpose? Or what is the condition of biodiversity in Bangladesh? Once upon a time, Bangladesh abounded with forest animals and birds. Low marshes abounded with aquatic animals. Houses, roads, towns are being uh, built filling water bodies due to the increase of country's population, which is leaving a bad impact on our biodiversity. Dear students, the population is increasing day by day. For our large population, we are making house, constructing roads, we are setting up towns by filling water bodies. It creates a bad impact on our biodiversity. The normal flow of water is hampered due to the building of houses and roads filling water bodies. As a result, the production of aquatic animals and fishes is hampered. The cultivable land has diminished due to the building of houses, roads, and towns. We grab our cultivable land and we made house, constructed roads, and set up towns. As a result, cultivable land is diminishing day by day. The fertility of land is being spoiled by chemical waste due to unplanned industrialization. The use of chemical fertilizer and pesticides has been a must for enhanced food production to feed our increased population. That is, population increased geometrically while food production increased arithmetically. And to fill up the imbalance production of agricultural food production, we use chemical fertilizer, pesticides to get bumper crops. But this use of fertilizer and pesticides creates a negative impact on the biodiversity. The consequence is hampered reproduction of fish, insects, and birds. For that reason, too, biodiversity is also affected. There has been pressure on plant, animals, and fish resources due to the increase of country's population. Gas and water supply in urban areas has reduced. The temperature in rural areas has increased due to the decrease of vegetation. That is, we are cutting down trees randomly to make house, to make furniture, etc. As a result, the supply of oxygen is getting minimized while the amount of carbon dioxide is getting maximized. As a result, the temperature both in towns and cities area, both in towns and village areas are being increased. It will be devastating for us if we to let our biodiversity affected by ours. That is, we are consciously affecting our biodiversity, our consciousness and active hands. That is we are affecting our biodiversity with conscious and active hands. We have to be conscious and active immediately to face the danger of biodiversity. That's why the condition of biodiversity is not good at all now. We have to protect our biodiversity. Now, some steps to how to protect our biodiversity. There are 12 steps. If we implement them, if we adopt them, we can save our biodiversity from going completely damaged. Point 1, population should be reduced. We must reduce our population. Point 2, cultivable land should not be spoiled. We are spoiling our cultivable land. That would create negative impact on our biodiversity. Point 3, policy to protect biodiversity in agro production should be adopted. That is, we should build up a sustainable agricultural system so that our biodiversity will be kept active. Point 4, fertilizer and pesticides should not be used unnecessarily. We should not use fertilizer, pesticide without necessity. Point 4, normal flow of water should not be blocked. We should not make house, construct roads, dam, bridge, culverts on the flow on the passage where the water are flowing. Point 6, water reservoir should be built and water should be reserved in that reservoir. Point 7, rules should be obeyed in using chemicals. We should use chemicals for different, use chemicals with our necessity, with maintaining a proper procedure. Point 8, law of nature should be followed in consumption of minerals. We must use our mineral resources, but they should not be used unnecessarily. Point 9, forest resource should be increased and more forest should be created in Bangladesh. Dear students, you know a country should have at least 25% forest land to maintain the ecology. In Bangladesh, the percentage of forest is only 16%. That is, we are lacking 9%. Point 10, animal and fish resource should be protected and increased. Point 11, highest vigilance should be adopted in individual and government levels to protect biodiversity. Both the government and individual should protect our biodiversity from utter destruction. And last of all, point 12, it should be remembered that our biodiversity in Bangladesh is under absolute threats. So, dear students, these are the steps by which we protect our biodiversity. So, dear students, no more today. In the next class, I will discuss lesson 4, that is different industries of Bangladesh, and lesson 5, the role of industry in our socio-economic development, and what are the positive results of industrialization in Bangladesh. So, study regularly. Pray for me, I will pray for you. Stay home, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.